Welcome everybody to the first episode of ROC Game Reviews. What?
Yeah, where's that Clippy thing?
The Clippy thing?
Yeah, where is it?
Oh, it's not present because we're not reviewing a movie today.
What?
Yes, I
plot
know.
Twist.
Quite a plot twist. Yes.
Wow.
No, instead for our prop we have a game controller to your right here.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Didn't even notice that.
Well, I mean, these things happen. So yes, this is our first episode of ROC Game Reviews. This is a new segment we're going to be starting. It's going to be branching off from ROC Movie Reviews. Same format, but different context, different categories. And we thought for our first episode of ROC Game Reviews, we would review a game that we have played multiple times, is considered to be one of the best games in this genre, and is a game that a lot of people consider to be one of the best games ever made. So,
and I would agree.
So try not to overhype it too much, but still, you know, you can tell we're excited to talk about it.
Yep.
Our first episode, ROC Game Reviews, we are going to be reviewing the absolutely incredible game, Resident Evil 4. Oh my god, okay.
I am so glad that this is our first episode for ROC Game Reviews.
This is a big one. We're kicking it off with a bang.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, wow. You were into the Resident Evil series prior to me. I got into it later, quite a bit later.
Yeah, I remember going to GameStop with my dad, and in fact, he was the one that actually picked this one out for me.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh,
except it was for the Wii and not the GameCube.
Well,
but
that's right, yeah. And now it's for 360, so it's you know new ports and everything. And I think I heard they're doing a remake of this game too.
Yeah, that's I'm not gonna buy it.
Yeah,
unless I hear good reviews of it.
If I hear good reviews about it, I'll probably think about it. But it's gonna take a lot because this game is pretty. I would say this game is pretty much near perfect. I don't think anything needs to be changed about it.
I'll admit, when I first played this game, like the very first moment, I really wasn't that into it, but I kind of like stopped playing it for like a month or so, and then I got back to playing it, and I'm like, oh, this game's actually it's very different from any other game I played back then.
It was, yeah. It's I would say the word revolutionary is quite appropriate here. This is a revolutionary game. When this came out, it changed up the whole kind of formula of what we thought survival horror games were.
Definitely.
Just like the first Resident Evil did with the camera, the way that the original camera was moved and the static shots, you know, walking through those rooms. This was third person, but it was also over the shoulder, so it was a new thing that I don't think gamers had seen before.
Nah.
And I believe the director of this game was also the director of the first Resident Evil too.
I think so.
So I don't remember his name. I think it's right here actually. What is it? Shinji Mikami.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He's the creator of Resident Evil and therefore the director of the first Resident Evil. So I think it was a huge plus that Shinji Mikami came back to be a co-director on this game. I mean, when he's involved in a Resident Evil project, normally it turns out really freaking good.
Oh yeah.
So this is just one example of that. My favorite Resident Evil game of the entire series, which I'll just touch on quickly, is the second game. I think that's a absolutely perfect game, no problems. And the remake that came out, what was it, last year, I think?
Yeah.
Is actually even better, and it just like elevated my love for the second game even more because they added so much to it for modern gamers.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite. That being said, 4 is up there. It's definitely in my top 5.
Yeah.
I have played this game all the way through 5 or 6 times.
Really? Yeah, I have actually played it through, I think, more than 5 or 6 times.
Yeah?
Yeah, like I said, I've beaten normal mode. I've actually beaten it on the hardest difficulty setting.
Yep.
Which only took me an hour longer than normal mode.
Yep.
Which that was kind of a joke, so.
Yeah, you always like go over the hard modes.
I've beaten it on 2 different consoles, Wii and 360, so I just love this game so much.
It's really, it has a high replayability.
I've beaten separate ways in Assignment Ada.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have a personal best runtime of 2 hours and 28 minutes.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
I have not kept track of my my runtime. I'm not as competitive in that regard as you are.
Yeah.
But I have played pretty much every mode of this game. I love its mercenaries mode. So much fun.
Yeah.
And like I just said, the replayability of this game is so incredibly high. You've literally played through the campaign. Like you said, you've lost count how many times?
Like 8.
8, and I've done like 5 or 6. That's just how well made of a game this is, because when a replayability is so high, it's like you just want to keep revisiting and coming back to it. And
Definitely.
yeah, it's just really when that quality is so present in this kind of a game, that's what keeps the fans coming back.
Yeah.
So, why they're doing a remake, I'll never know.
Me either.
But, I mean, I can kind of see their argument at the same time. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what it looks like.
I mean, it's only a 15-year-old game.
Only.
That's not old at all.
That's almost 2 decades, so... Yeah,
Yeah.
You're right. In the grand scheme of things, that's not that old. Yeah, so that's kind of the overview. The plot and the story of this game, take it away.
I will take over the plot.
Yes.
So, during the first scene, this actually takes place 6 years after the events of Resident Evil 3.
Yep.
When they completely nuked Raccoon City.
Yes.
And just wiped out all of the zombies infected with a T virus, which is...
Yep.
And very similar to Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 is actually a lot similar to Resident Evil games than you would think, but in its own way is very different.
Yeah.
So, you play this presidential agent, Leon Kennedy, who is sent on a mission to rescue the president's daughter.
Yep.
And it turns out she was abducted by this group called Los Illuminados, who are basically, they're not zombies, they're actually infected people with Las Plagas, which, speaking of which, so we don't get Las Plagas ourselves.
Right, yes. Yeah, Las Plagas being a virus, of course. Yeah, so it was, yeah.
You basically see Leon going through multiple different situations where he first rescues Ashley, and then
the president's
she gets
daughter. Yep.
recaptured 3 times, and then finally succeeds in his mission.
Yes. Yeah, it's a pretty long game. I would say that's why
Yeah.
so many people love revisiting it, because there's so many memorable boss battles and sequences and levels of the game where it's just, it challenges you too. It's not an easy game.
No.
I would say it gets harder as you go on, and even when you start it on normal mode in the early stages, it's still not like, oh, this is a piece of cake. It's not. You have to keep your inventory close to you. You got to make sure what you have at all times. You're constantly, your supplies is constantly dwindling, so you need to make sure you pick up every
It's all
single...
about strategizing.
It
what
is.
kills the enemies best.
It is, and I think that's also why so many people love the game, because it's so dynamic and it has a variety in that way, where you can play through levels differently every time. Just like, oh, how am I going to go about this differently than I did last time?
And
So,
what I also
keeps it
like about
fresh.
this game is that there's only 3 main locations.
That's right, yeah, and those
You
3
got-
locations.
You got the village in chapters 1 and 2.
Yep.
You got the castle, which you spend the most time in.
Oh my god, that castle!
Yeah. In
That
chapters
one level?
3.
Oh god,
Yeah,
no.
the first level, the Room of Despair.
That- I've got a lot of bad memories and good memories from that level. Oh my god.
And then, lastly, you get the island.
Yes.
Chapters 5 and 6.
Yep. Out of the three of those, I don't know which is my favorite. It's hard to pick because the castle has left such a impact on me.
Yeah.
In the village, obviously that's where you start. I think maybe the island's my favorite because one word.
What is that? Regenerators?
That's it. Those things are absolutely terrifying. When you come across them, the music, the atmosphere.
I mean, the music is so subtle.
God.
It's like you pretty much know you're entering a scary experience.
Yeah. I would compare it to the first Evil Within, where there's like a level where you're in complete and utter darkness, and you can only see your character, and you have to kind of like slowly move through rooms that have like traps all over the place.
Yeah.
And it is incredibly scary because of the dread that you're feeling during those levels. And I would compare that to what you're talking about with the Regenerators. Yeah. Maybe even more so, but they're just both, like, the tension is used so well. Yeah. I don't play those levels at night. I don't recommend it.
But not only do we have Regenerators, we have Iron Maiden.
Yeah, just when
which are even worse.
Just when you think Regenerators are like the worst thing you're gonna come across in this game, boom! They're like, nope, we're gonna like shoot that nightmare fuel up.
We're gonna have like a regenerator with so much spikes.
Yeah, and the other thing is that these regenerators take so long to kill because you have to be very precise. Everybody knows how to kill a regenerator at this point, but it's the painstaking process of not letting them get too close, but also being able to use a thermal scope to take out the little things inside of them to make them finally die, because otherwise they're just going to jump back up and munch on your shoulder.
And at first I just used 3 grenades to kill the first regenerator.
Yeah.
And then I watched one YouTuber shoot the leg off and then just knife it.
You can do that, but it takes a very long time, and I do not prefer to do it. I don't want to get anywhere close to them.
No.
I'm like, stay away. I'm just going to aim. And
because then they'll just hop on you and bite your neck.
Yeah, exactly. And they are not friendly. They're like, they sink their teeth in. Like, it is nasty. So you're constantly dreading that happening. They'll sometimes jump and they'll miss you, but then you're just like, go, 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 go. So, yeah, and their introduction is terrifying as well. It is so friggin' scary. It's horror done right.
Yep.
That's what I gotta say about that. We talked about characters kind of, and the voice cast. It's fairly small, but Paul Mercier voices Leon S. Kennedy. He's one of my favorite guys who has voiced Leon. I think he's really good. He voiced him in the Degeneration movie, and I believe the Darkside Chronicles game, but he's only done a couple times.
Cool.
Carolyn Lawrence voices Ashley Graham.
Ashley Graham. Yeah.
I don't really like her voice. Like, it's incredibly annoying the number of times it's just like, Leon, help! She did a fine job. It was memorable, maybe not for the right reason, but it's a character I'm not going to forget.
And what's interesting is that this is the same person who voices Sandy Cheeks and Cindy Vortex. And
Cindy Vortex, yeah.
And when I think about Cindy and Ashley, they sound very similar to one another.
They do, yeah. If you put them like side by side, they sound almost identical.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the likeness is uncanny of the voices.
Oh yeah.
It's weird. Reno Romano voices Luis Serra. Yeah, who is your companion through, I think, half of this game, and then doesn't he die after that?
Yeah, you barely get any time with him. Like, he doesn't have enough screen time, in my opinion.
He doesn't. I wish he was in the game more, because he shows up, he helps you, and that one level where you have to fight off an entire horde in one house.
Yes. Ugh.
Oh my god!
I hated that part for the longest time.
I hated that part just as much as the Room of Despair in the castle. I was like, I am not going to be able to beat this. It was a challenge, but it was like a challenge on steroids. I was like, just let me win!
And at least Louis Serra helps you, where sometimes a partner just would not.
Yep.
I know how a lot of people feel about Sheva Alomar
in Resident Evil 5. I'm sure we'll talk about in the future. Yeah, the AI, oh god.
Yeah.
Yes, Lewis actually helps you, and for the most part I would say his AI is good, and I mean, it's not the best, but it could be far worse.
And what's interesting, he didn't get a lot of screen time, but his death is quite sad.
Yeah, his death is quite sad. Yeah, it kind of comes out of nowhere, and you're like, I was kind of starting to care about that character.
Yeah.
So, yeah, somebody I wish who had stuck around, further into the game, but
Yeah.
he served his purpose. That's all that did. Sally Safiati is Hunnigan, who checks in with Leon. She's his. I don't even know what you call her exactly. She's like the person that he checks in with for information.
Yeah.
So, whatever that means, I don't know exactly.
She's almost like there for support.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty
And
accurate.
she's not even in the game that long either.
She's not. Sally Cahill is Ada Wong.
Oh.
Ada's a really cool character. Oh, yeah. Probably one of my favorite characters, like, of her in, I would say I love her in 4, and I really love her in 6.
Definitely.
Like, just as a character, maybe not.
She's the type that works for both the good guys and the bad guys.
She's
like the middle lady.
Yep. Yeah, and I think the last person worth mentioning is, a couple actually. Jim Ward is Jack Krauser. Good God, that boss battle with Jack Krauser was so annoying. But I mean, infamous boss battle lists, that one would go in there.
Oh yeah, especially that knife fight. Like, that was so hard.
It was just die already. Yeah, and Michael Gow as Osmond Sadler.
I loved his character.
He was a great villain. We didn't care for Salazar. But
Salazar was kind of annoying.
Salazar was just a little twit, and his boss battle was way too hard. Sadler is genuinely intimidating. His final boss fight is incredibly exciting.
Yeah.
And pretty hard.
And thankfully, it's the very last level, and he's the only one you fight. I love that part.
I do love that part. I love that they don't throw in any like henchmen or whatever that you have to fight. Kind of like with Salazar's boss.
Yeah.
You just
it's
fight
like
him.
The final showdown.
Yeah. And it feels like a final showdown. You're on top of this, like, I don't even know, like some sort of a platform or whatever. It was like a construction platform or something. And it's massive, and you're having to jump from platform to platform as he's chasing you. It's just all of what makes a great boss battle a great boss battle.
Definitely.
So, great job from the entire voice cast. They did an awesome job.
I think we're forgetting a couple.
Are we?
It's actually Albert Wesker, who isn't really in the story mode. He's in separate ways.
Oh, right. Well, he's not Torres Mendez.
Yes, the village chief.
Oh my God. That boss fight was, I
would say, if not for the regenerators, the village chief would probably be the creepiest part.
Probably, yeah. And then Richard Waugh as Albert Wesker. There you go. Yeah, he's not in the game very much, but when he is present, I mean, he's freaking Wesker.
Oh yeah.
He's Albert Wesker. You know, the villain of the first Resident Evil, villain of the 5th Resident Evil. Even if you disagree with things about the 5th Resident Evil, you can't argue Albert Wesker's a great villain.
Agreed. He's
really, really good. He's the slick back blonde hair, the black trench coat, the white teeth, and the black sunglasses.
Yeah.
It's just like perfect.
Definitely.
Yeah. So voice cast, story, gameplay, and graphic wise, this game still holds up today.
Oh yeah.
It's really good. I don't love you can't aim your weapon and move. In later games, they perfected that. In this, you have to stop, shoot, stop, shoot.
Yeah.
But that also makes it more anxiety-inducing because you've got something coming towards you and you're trying to kill it in that small time of it coming towards you.
Definitely.
So I would say that it works in that regard, especially when you have to kill the village people that have those big-ass things that, like, sprout out of their head or whatever.
I mean, I'll admit, when I first saw that, I'm just like, wait, what?
And the big ones can just take your head right off. I'm like,
and those I think you see in the castle and the island.
Yeah. Oh, they're terrible.
I don't know the island. I think those are different, but...
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But no, just the Lost Plagas and what the villagers were called. What were they called again? They were
Ganados.
Thank you. The Ganados were just a pain, and they are villains throughout the entire game. But they make for really challenging villains.
Definitely.
And there's so many of them. It's just like this entire area of where you are is just infected and everyone's out to get you.
Definitely.
So, another boss fight that was really memorable, Vertigo.
Yes.
Verdugo or whatever.
Oh my god. It's like, I'll admit, when I first played this game for the Wii, I'm just like shooting this guy constantly. And he's not dying.
Yeah.
Which eventually I killed him, and then I literally watched a YouTube strategy.
Yeah.
What you have to do is knock down one of those freezing containers.
Yep.
Freeze them, then shoot them with a rocket launcher.
Yeah, but it takes a couple of times if you're on a different difficulty, and it is. That's one of the more anxiety-inducing boss battles too, because you're like, where is he? He could drop from the ceiling at any moment,
and you have to look for buttons to press to avoid his attacks.
You do, yeah.
Much like the Krauser knife fight.
Yep, the quick time events is what we call those. Yeah, those are just. I mean, they're used to perfection, but you have to be really quick. They're called quick time events for a reason. They come up and you're like, okay, press, or you don't get it, and then you get hit. So, it all just comes together really well. So the gameplay and the graphics, both really, really great. I would still say the quality of them has not fallen since the game came out 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It's one of those games, kind of like GoldenEye 64, that stands the test of time.
Like it just aged well.
It ages like a fine wine, you know? It just, it's great.
You wouldn't tell it was a 2005 game. You'd guess like 2010 or something.
You probably guessed 2010, or maybe even a little later than that, but 2005?
Yeah.
It's just like, wow. So, it was incredibly impressive in that regard. And the last section we were going to talk about with the game was the music. Oh my god.
Yes.
The music is so good. I'm actually trying to look up the composer for the game. And
it just adds to the anxiety of playing the game.
It really
honestly
does. Well, we were just talking about that regenerator scene. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, can we play that music?
I think I can find it, but that might take away from the actual, sorry.
I mean, that regenerator music, it's so subtle, it's not like overdoing it to the point where you know it's going to be scary. It's like, okay, it's settled, like, what am I going to get myself into?
Yeah.
And then, literally, once you shoot its limb off, it grows back, and you're just, like, feeling hopeless or something.
Yeah, it is. It's very, very stressful. My god, is it stressful. This composer, or two composers, Misao Senbagi, sorry if I'm butchering that, and Shusaku Uchiyama. They were the two composers for this game. Excellent.
Definitely.
Excellent. They know how to invoke anxiety and stress and fear and terror and all those words that mean, generally the same thing. Great job. Unless you have something else to add, I'm ready to score this thing.
I mean, I will admit, this game is near perfect without question. I think what I would have done, I think the only thing I didn't like was the second to last level. It felt the most like Resident Evil 5 or 6-ish.
Yeah, it was a little too action-centric or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully it was possibly the only action-packed sequence besides Jack Krauser's real boss fight.
Yeah, yep. But it was kind of a precursor to what would happen in 5 and 6.
Yeah, but I think that's what also this game does well that 5 and 6 didn't.
Yeah.
It mixed action and horror very well.
It did, yeah, and it didn't over on the action. It didn't like overblow it with the action like the later games did. This felt the balance was just really well handled. I like you said near perfect game. I mean, I guess I don't know if I can give this a full 10 out of 10, but I'm like leaning towards it.
Alrighty.
Well, how about you score it first?
Alright, considering I'm going to score this first again for the first ROC game reviews.
Yeah.
I think I will give this a perfect 10 out of 10.
You will?
Yeah.
Okay, alright, because I was waiting to see what your score would be, and you said near perfect.
Easily one of the best games I've ever played.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
I think the positives absolutely outweigh the negatives. There's very few negatives with this game at all, and the ones that I have are so minimal. I just can't really see it taking away from the overall enjoyment and experience of this game.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. This is one of the greatest video games that I have played. And just talking about it, I'll probably go back and play it at some point in the near future because it's just that freaking good.
I mean, not to mention this game they literally made this for numerous consoles.
They did.
All the same company, but
Yep.
I mean, they made it for the 360. Now it's for one.
Yeah.
I think it's now for PS4.
Yep. I think it's pretty much for all the next gen consoles.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah. Well, because like we talked about, it stands the test of time. People still want to play it, and they just
Yeah.
Capcom is updating it so it feels more modern. It feels more present. Like the actual time period we're in. But still, you can play the original on GameCube or Wii or whatever, the 2005, and you'll still have a great time. I think the only add-ons that this one is missing is Chicago Typewriter,
PRL 412.
Thank you, PRL 412 and the hand cannon. Unfortunately, those are in the later versions of the game, but that's really just a nitpick.
Yeah, that's actually the only thing I haven't unlocked is the hand cannon.
Yeah.
And there is a way to get it, which
Yeah.
is to get 5 stars on every mercenary level with every character.
Yep.
I am not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I'm not even going to try. So if you're not going to try, I'm not going to try. I've seen people use the hand cannon. I'm not really sure if it's worth it. Personally, I like the Chicago Typewriter and the PRL just fine enough. So
the infinite rocket launcher.
And of course, you can't forget the infinite rocket launcher. You played through the campaign with that. Oh, that is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So many great moments. Such a great game.
Yep.
10 out of 10 from both of us. If for some strange reason, unless you don't like these kind of games, you have not played Resident Evil 4 and you are a RE fan, what are you doing with your life?
I know.
Pick up a copy, play
Play
Resident
it.
Evil 4. It is one of the most
Play
cinematic games you will ever play. It's scary, it's exciting, it's so satisfying in so many ways.
And it's so fun, too.
It's so much fun, yeah. And even that Room of Despair and the house that you have to protect from the Horde, still, you enjoy when you're playing it, even if it is hard, because you're having a good time.
Yeah.
So, 10 out of 10 from you, 10 out of 10 from me. Definitely recommend Resident Evil 4 as a video game.
What should our next game reviews be?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't think we're going to do another Resident Evil, because I think we want variety. We will at some point, but, oh god.
Maybe, like, Lego Star Wars?
That's a contender, yeah. We talked about older video games that a lot of people that are absolutely beloved. Star Wars Battlefront.
Oh yeah.
So maybe I'm assuming we'll probably do all of them at some point. But you guys can tune in to our next episode of Rock Game Reviews fairly soon, I would say. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next episode of Rock Game Reviews or Rock Movie Reviews.
Alrighty.
All right. Stay safe, everybody. Have a good one.
Ready, steady, go!